What is going on, everybody? This is S Trades, and today is July 24th, and I'm going to be doing a quick trade recap for you guys because I had a lot of concepts that I taught pretty much all in today's trade. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So coming into the day, I was actually pretty bullish. I was looking to take on longs rather than shorts, which is the one that I took. Right, we had lots of imbalances. We were in a big 4-hour fair value gap, right? But we also developed this very discounted 15-minute that I was kind of interested in. And we were just kind of generating overnight, and we didn't really see much of a play. We did get a little play right off the open, right? We kind of came down here, tapped this discounted 5-minute. That was also inside the 4-hour, sorry. And then we got an immediate 5-minute IFEG over here, and price went straight up to pre-market highs, but I didn't take this because this was pre-market pretty early on. And then there was another trade over here, but they were all pretty mid. So the reason why I took a short here when I had a long bullish bias is because of the targets that were very clear, and the SMTs that we were making, and pretty much just we started to kind of develop a little bit of a bearish order flow. So what do we have here, right? ES and NQ today was very uncorrelated. ES was pretty much literally at all-time highs this whole morning, right? We just took out all-time highs. It kept going higher, right? And just keep taking out the highs. NQ, on the other hand, wasn't. We were just kind of below the all-time highs, right? So first, what we did, we made that all-time high SMT, right? NQ ended up leaving off this high over here, and ES ended up taking it. And then we also end up getting an internal SMT over here once we tapped that 30-minute, right? So this candle came up, tapped that 30-minute, made that internal SMT while having that big higher time frame SMT with the with all-time highs. And once we kind of start to hold this 30-minute, right, we got an immediate reaction down over here. So this was a 1-minute over here that I was actually going to take, but we ended up hitting the 2-minute, and then we ended up hitting the 3-minute, and so on and so forth. So I needed to see the highest time frame in this leg, right, which I thought was going to be the 5-minute, but ended up being the 4. So in this leg that ended up forming, right, the 4-minute was the highest. So the reason why I took the short, right, again, I had internal SMT over here, I had an SMT with all-time highs. We were holding the 30-minute, right? You can see the checklist down here. Pretty much everything's marked off, and I was gonna go break even over here, right? And then this was just another internal that you could have taken as a partial, but my final TP was this 15-minute fair value gap, right? The reason again being is because this is a very obvious discounted fair value gap that price might want to retrace to, right? And I also kind of aggressively trailed my stops once we ended up kind of taking out this low. So let's take a quick look at it. So we ended up inversing right here. I waited for a little pullback, right? I entered over here on that 4-minute inversion, right? My stops were above over here. It was a little closer actually over here. So price ended up kind of coming back, retracing, right? Playing around, and boom, immediate reaction down lower, right? Now I thought we were just gonna straight up dump and flush through all of these, but we didn't. We were just kind of playing around. Went up higher again, went to my break even to a little bit of a drawdown, and then boom, the very next candle we ended up pushing past through this level, right? So once we ended up hitting this level, my stops went on break even, but I also ended up trailing my stops tighter while I was in the trade, right? So after this move that happened, this little down close candle, I trailed it very tight over here because, like I said, ES and NQ is very uncorrelated, and I didn't want to get stuck in ES going higher and NQ going lower, and then we just chop around. So I trailed my stops a little tighter, and once we ended up taking out this internal, I went fully break even. So now it's a risk-free trade. And once we ended up taking out this level, now I was just kind of aggressively trailing my stops because it could have easily just, went up from here. I didn't have to go to that 15-minute, right? So let's take a look at another example. So what happened then? Okay, boom. Once we ended up getting that reaction, my stops literally went over here on this candle, just aggressively trailing my stops. And then as the candle went, I had my stops over here, and the very next candle pretty much took out my initial target, right? So again, that was the only trade that I ended up taking today. Again, the reason why I wanted to make the video is because I had a lot of the concepts that I was teaching you guys, right? We had an SMT with previous day high, with Asia high, sorry, and with all-time highs, right? Very clear SMT favoring some of the bearish plays, right? We then had another internal SMT, and then we automatically see this 30-minute fair value gap, which is our highest time frame fair value gap in this leg getting held, getting an immediate reaction down lower, right? We see that the bullish PD rays are getting disrespected because the bullish fair value gaps are getting closed below them, and I just wanted to see the highest time frame of this leg, which was the 4 minute. And yeah, that was pretty much it. That was the only trade that I ended up taking. But even that was a very, very good close in my opinion, because right after that we actually ended up going right back up to the moon. And honestly, this could have been another trade opportunity for you guys if somebody missed out. I don't know if you guys took these longs, right? Once we tapped into that 15-minute discount for value gap, could have easily just taken this 1 minute inversion on this leg because that was the highest inversion. Again, something just to forward test, right? Stops below this candle, and then we're targeting all of this low resistance liquidity that got formed, right? I would have personally just targeted that over there. And let's see how trade plays out. It kind of chopped around for a while, and then we immediately got to push higher, right here. Once we kind of broke up over here above this high, I would have went break even, and then targeting that internal draw. Very, very obvious, right? And as the trade kept playing out slowly but surely, I think we hit that TP. I'm not too sure. Did we? We came very close to it. Damn, so we actually didn't even hit that, did we? Okay, no, we did. All right. So we ended up kind of hitting that TP. Probably, yeah, it would have taken you 2 hours in this trade. But in my opinion, this is also another great opportunity that you guys could have taken. But yeah, that was it for this video. I just wanted a quick trade recap just to run you guys over what I'm thinking, what I'm looking at, what I'm going into the day. And yeah, so pretty much really just determining your draw on liquidity is probably the most easiest way to actually see where the trades will be going. This is kind of what I had. I had a bullish bias, but temporarily I was bearish due to the draw on liquidity being a very, very obvious 15-minute over here. And as the bearish plays were getting respected and bullish were getting disrespected, that kind of helped me out to take that short just because I was bearish temporarily, but obviously bullish on the bias. So yeah, you don't have to exactly follow the entire bias for the entirety of the day, right? You could kind of fade the bias for a trade that has like a very obvious draw on liquidity and having other PD rates kind of go along with it. But yeah, that's about it for this video, guys, and I will catch you guys in the next video.